there, eBay friends. You have landed on episode 195 of eBay the Right Way. Today's date is December 11th, 2024, and my guest is Stephanie in Pennsylvania. Announcements. Just a reminder. There are 10 shopping days left till Christmas if you're shopping online and having items shipped to you. According to the USPS, here are the important dates. December 18th is the last day to ship Ground Advantage and have your package hopefully get there. They never really guarantee that. December 19th is the last day for Priority Mail, and December 21st is the last day for Priority Mail Express. So just remember that as a seller, these are the deadline dates, but really people buy after Christmas and sales stay strong until January. So just keep shipping. Now, as a buyer, make sure you are supporting the eBay community if you are buying gifts online. I always start on eBay, and if what I want isn't there, I move on to Amazon or other sites. Just remember, you get back what you put out there. Support the eBay community whenever you buy anything, any time of year. If we all do it, we all win. You can follow my store, Atlanta Golf Shop. The link is below the podcast. And I encourage you to follow other seller stores as well, not only to learn what sells, but for buying. And you can follow stores by clicking the little heart at the top of the page, and there is a section in your eBay drop-down for saved sellers. So it never hurts to watch what other people are doing. You can learn a lot about what sells and expand your own horizons. Okay, end of public service announcement. Now let's chat with Stephanie.
Hello, listeners. I have a longtime eBay online friend with us today. And how are you this morning, Stephanie?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm wonderful. It's a beautiful, sunny Monday morning where I am.
Yes, same here.
And what is your location?
I'm in Bucks County, Pennsylvania, which is right on the Delaware River.
Is that Amish country?
No, not quite. That's a little bit higher. We're 20 minutes outside of Philadelphia.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I bet that's some good thrifting.
It's actually known as the thrifting capital. So.
Oh, so I guess I need to plan a visit to come.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do. Within a 7-mile road trip, I hit 7 thrift stores.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very good. Okay, well, let's start with what got you involved in eBay and when that was.
Okay. So I actually started on eBay in 1998, but I had my full name written on the thing at the time. So I didn't want that anymore. And then in 1999, I switched it. And that's when I really started doing a little bit of eBay. And it was that time where there's no pictures. People have to send a money order or a check. You wait till it clears. You lug it to the post office. Things are so much easier for people that they don't realize.
So you're going on almost 30 years pretty soon.
Something like that. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, 30 years will be here before we know it. So
I know. And I started off actually because I think I was buying something. I don't remember what it was.
Mm-hmm.
But then my first sale, because, go big or go home, was a Jeep Wrangler soft top.
A vehicle?
No, the soft top of the vehicle.
Oh, just the top. Okay.
Yeah, the soft top of the vehicle. I lived in Chicago at the time, and I really didn't need it. It was too cold.
Mm-hmm.
So I sold that unseen.
Was that local pickup?
Nope. Shipped it to California.
Oh, so I guess it folds down and compacts.
Yeah, it's like comes into like a big size like that. And I lugged it to the post office, got in there, and they shipped it. Person loved it. It was my first feedback, I think. So
Wow, what a thing to start with.
Yeah, it's kind of my style, which is
Well, and back then we didn't have any online people to help us figure
no,
out how to get started, and
right,
we just jumped in with both feet and hoped for the best.
exactly. So my experience was really good to start off with. That was good.
Okay,
And over the years, I've sold and done. I worked full time for a long time, and I did it part time. And I also bought cars on eBay.
you did.
Yes, I bought my Jaguar that I had for a while, and then bought a Land Rover. So
Okay,
yeah, both
okay.
pre-owned, but they were great.
Before the days of Carvana and all the ways you can
Oh yeah,
buy
yeah,
vehicles online now, which I have used Carvana several times, and it's
yeah,
quite convenient.
right. It's nice.
I just don't. I've also done CarMax, and I don't want to haggle and talk about it. Just, this is what I want.
Right.
I'll pay this. Let's do it.
That's happened with us at CarMax too. I did it with my spouse's parents, and it was like, I don't want to do this. I just want to pay for the car. Okay.
Mhm. Right. Okay. So what is your full-time career?
Now it's eBay. I'm full time.
Okay.
Hmm.
So what were you doing before?
I was an executive in emergency travel assistance. So basically, we were the people that would rescue you, take you out of different countries or locations if you got sick or injured. So I managed the clients behind the scenes, and I did that for 25 years. And then I said, I'm kind of done. And I worked with a consultant for a while where I was part of that whole thing. And then COVID hit.
Of
Right?
course, that
And,
changed everybody's life.
and on top of that, for us, we do emergency evacuations, repatriations, but not during a pandemic. So there was nothing.
Right.
How do you sell a product that you can't use?
Right.
So I was already doing eBay. I was doing both at that point. And that's where it sort of made me go, okay, well, now it's just going to be eBay. That's where it has been eBay now since for 4 years completely. So
Well, I love how eBay sellers just come from all walks of life.
yeah,
There is no one size fits all. It's very interesting and fascinating to hear like how you got to eBay and why you're full time.
right.
So many stories are, well, COVID, I was in healthcare and it got too complicated, or, my work shut down, or we had to work virtually anyway. And, all the things that happened, and people just transitioned over to eBay.
Yeah, exactly. And eBay's always been a part of my life for a long time. So it's interesting for me. And I always knew I could do it full time. I didn't need to, but I always knew I could. And it was always my safety net. Like, this becomes too tough, it'll be here. It ended up happening in a different way, but it happened. So it's been wonderful. I'm happy with it.
Now, you mentioned you have dual citizenship. I would
Correct.
love to hear about that.
Yeah. So my parents are both French, and I was born here. So that's why I have American citizenship. But I have French citizenship for that from them. So I grew up going back and forth because my mother worked for the United Nations, and my dad was a nose,
What's that?
a perfumer.
Oh, of course.
Called the nose, yeah. So
I love that.
he made
Okay.
perfumes, so we would go back and forth for different things because he worked for a lot of companies. He worked for Coty, which now is bought by somebody else. I forgot who. His best friend was actually one of the Cotys, so it was.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Michel Coty. He was a nice guy. So we got to go all over the place. I have a very privileged childhood. I had a wonderful, wonderful childhood, so I got to go everywhere.
Very nice. Well, this morning I shipped another empty perfume bottle. I bought a whole bunch of empties on an online auction.
Yeah.
Because I watched other people sell them. I'm like, well, I'm going to see what happens. And I got the whole lot for like $1. And it was like 8 bottles of Chanel. There's no number 5 in there, but there are other like Mademoiselle and Coco and different scents and boxes and dust bags and just a whole bunch of stuff. And I can't believe how that stuff's flying out. But
And you just reminded me, I had to take care of some stuff, and I found a box of my grandmother's things. And in there is just a pretty wooden box. I'm going to have to send pictures and put it up. And I'm like, oh, this is really nice. And the bottles are very Chanel shaped, right? I'm like, this is nice. I look at the bottom. It's engraved with Chanel.
oh,
So this must be from a long time ago, and I'm going to have to do research on it. But I thought, wow, this will be
very high quality.
Yeah,
Yes.
exactly. Yeah, it'll be nice.
Well, and I just want to throw this out there for the listeners, because still to this day, really? Why are you selling an empty bottle? Well, the girl that bought this one last night is an art student, or she's doing an art project. I don't know if it's high school, college. I don't know if she's the teacher, but she paid $25 for an empty bottle. And then another lady asked me a question because apparently I sent her an offer because she was watching it. And she says, well, I'm not going to buy this. I was just showing my husband that these do sell.
Right.
And if you, Suzanne, have them up for sale, it must be something. And I'm like, well, don't give me that much credit. I haven't all sold yet. But and then the others that sold, they didn't really. Oh, one lady was like, oh, I want to take the top off and do this with it. And it's a spray. So it has the little squirty thing on top, but she's going to do something with it. And it's just, there's no end to what you can sell.
Yeah.
It might look like garbage, but no, these bottles are beautiful. They have the beautiful sort of sculptured top that screws off, and they come with the box, the original box. So just throwing that out there to the listeners. Do not throw anything away. Look it up, because you will be shocked at what sells. Even after all these years, you since 98, me since 2003. Yeah. Every day is still an adventure. I'm like, really? That sells?
That's the best part of this. It's always something new in that sense. It's interesting. I sold a bunch of empty perfume bottles that are very clearly Chanel perfume to a theater production. And what they were doing is going to fill it with liquid to look like it was the perfume. So,
right.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, so say that in French.
J'ai vendu plusieurs bouteilles qui sont allées dans une production de théâtre pour faire le parfum sur la table.
Oh my gosh, that's beautiful. You could have said my horse fell in the mud and it would sound beautiful. Okay, so you're full-time eBay now. Let's hear about some things that you've sold, because you do post on the Money Making Mondays when you're not busy traveling and doing all those things.
And that's also what was great. For work, I traveled 236 days a year. That's how much it was when it was full-time. So that full-time feels like a double full-time, you know what I mean? Because you're always traveling. So it's been nice to be home and travel when I choose to travel.
Well, let me ask you what year you were born.
71.
Okay. Yeah. So you're not as old as me, but
we're in the same generation.
I feel like, when I think of travel, it just has to be easy.
Yes.
It's exhausting, Yeah. Even though we've gotten away from all the COVID stuff with travel a little bit. It's got to be easy.
Yeah.
I don't know how people our age do this still. No. For their job all the time. Yeah. I guess you just got to love it, or you just have a lot of energy, or maybe you're just drinking a lot of coffee.
Exactly. And you're trained for it somehow.
Yeah. I love being able to work at home and sit in my comfy chair and take breaks when I want and make a fun beverage whenever. And I guess I'm spoiled. I've been doing it so long.
Yeah. And I'm still at the point where I'm like, oh, I'm going to go do this now. It's nobody to tell except myself. So it's
right. Okay. So I hijacked your thought there. You were going to talk about some things you sold.
Yeah. So one interesting one was a soup tureen, but it's the Blue Willow soup from Copa. Yes. But it was like a giant one. It had the underplate, the lid, and the ladle. Unheard of.
Really? Where'd you find that?
An online auction.
Okay.
Paid for the entire lot $100, and there were tons of plates too. So just the plates sell for $45 all day long, right? I put that in there. I was like, how am I going to ship this? But we'll try. I sold it for $1,500 and it went to Florida. I packed it like it was going to Mars. And it made it safe and sound, and she was thrilled.
So, wonderful.
And that's a typical thing, I think, if you would see online. I think it didn't get the price it should have for the seller, so I felt a little bad, but you would expect to think that's an antique or a collectible.
So that was an online auction that you picked up locally.
Correct. It was max sold.
Okay. Yeah, they don't have that where I am.
And they're cutting down now.
I have bought things. A lot of stuff I'm buying online comes from Indiana or Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
So not too far.
No, but yeah, that's
I don't have
interesting.
any local ones. I can't find any local ones. So I guess I'll keep looking. But if you're having it shipped to you, you just shop
Kind of nice.
deliberately for smalls,
Right.
lightweight. Yeah.
Yeah.
So $1,500 for a soup tureen. Good for
Yeah.
you.
And then a complete opposite example, you get a lot and there's a bunch of stuff in it. And sometimes these are things you wouldn't sell, but because you got it in the lot, you might as well list it. It's sitting there.
Right.
And it was a snow globe. It wasn't Mickey Mouse, but something close to that. I can't, so insignificant to me. I think I sold it for $35. The woman receives it. She writes me the most lovely note saying, "Hi, this was my favorite." You explain this all the time. My favorite snow globe. And my cousins were mean to me and they threw it on the ground and broke it. And she goes, "And I've been searching for years and nobody has sold this." And then yours popped up.
I know. You just never know what somebody's waiting for.
Yeah. And I said, "You know what? They'll get their karma. Don't you worry. You got your
Right.
snow globe back."
Do you remember what time of year that was that you sold it?
It was actually in the summer.
Okay.
Yeah, it was like June or July. And that's because normally I wouldn't even bother, but I was like, I have all this stuff. I'll just put it up. So
Well, where I was going with that question is some people are concerned about shipping them in the winter.
Yeah.
The liquid will freeze.
That's a good point.
And I've sold some over the years and it's always been fine. I don't think it's going to sit anywhere long enough. They're not going to sit it on the curb outside the post office for 8 hours when it's 0 degrees.
Right.
It's going to go from a truck to the post office into another truck. Granted, the back of the truck is not heated, but I guess you could
maybe
Google
a chemical in there.
Is what?
Is there maybe not a chemical in there that would stop it?
That's what I wonder. I mean, I guess you could Google it, but people do have that concern that it would freeze, just like shipping candles in the summer, like they're
Right.
gonna melt, but I don't think they're going to get hot enough to melt.
No.
So
Yeah, I've sold candles in the summer and they've gone across the country and nothing's happened to them. So now,
but I like that
you have-
people are concerned that they want their buyer to get the item not damaged.
Right.
So that's
Right.
it's a valid concern.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Those Disney snow globes are great. I went to a garage sale one time. Wasn't even planning. It was at the end of the street I was living on, and they had some stuff out, and they had the Little Mermaid under the sea. It's like a snow globe.
Yep.
It's like a sculpture, but it has all these different snow globes in it.
Wow.
She had the box and the styrofoam and everything. And then another one that wasn't as expensive, but it was same thing, box, styrofoam. And I bought both of those for $30.
Did you start the car and run?
I pretty much did. Yeah, it was the IKEA commercial.
Yeah, yeah.
So, and the under the sea one sold for over $200. So, if you can get over the shipping fear,
yes,
of a snow
that's
globe,
a big concern for people. Yeah, that makes
yeah,
sense.
yeah. I mean, some of those are worth a lot of money.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's true.
And I'm like you, I'm not a Disney person, so I don't know.
Yeah.
I had to learn like what's a hidden Mickey and what is what's
But I learned a lot of that from you.
That club, it's like a gold club.
Right.
Where you pay extra to belong. Things that come out of there, even like the keychains and the tote bags and anything with that. I didn't know all that. I'm not a Disney person. The popcorn buckets and just all the stuff that's limited.
Refillable drinks. Yeah, all that.
Yes. Yeah, the drink containers. So yeah, there's a lot to learn with Disney.
Yeah.
I
sold a bunch of those cups, as you mentioned, because you mentioned them in your premium library. And I bought a bunch of them from the bins and I put them in one giant lot. Now, single, they don't do great, but all of them together, I mean, I made $50. Not bad.
Yeah, for some plastic.
Yeah. That was very easy to ship.
Yeah, that's easy to ship too.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I start gravitating towards that after I buy these soup tureens.
Yeah, that's a big project. Kind of gives me a little bit of a stomach ache to think about. So what else do you have on your list? Maybe that's easier to ship.
Needlepoint.
Yes.
Yes. And that again, premium library, watching that. And then I happened, and this was 2019, there was an online auction. And it must have been someone who either had a store or collected a lot of needlepoints. And I won the entire lot. And I had to drive to Maryland, which is 2 hours. Friend came with me. We went and had lunch.
Oh, yeah.
What I thought was 300 hand-painted needlepoint canvases. It was closer to 700
Oh
when I was all done
my
cataloging.
gosh.
I have 4 left.
How long did it take you to get all that listed?
Actually, pretty fast once I took all the pictures because, you repeat the same thing, you just take
All right.
different things, but it's taking all the pictures. I think I spent a month just doing that and nothing else. I was kind of over needlepoints after that for a little bit. But they're all unique because they're all hand painted, the canvas part, and
Uh-huh.
all these people buying them, and I learned, the point and all that kind of stuff. Things I was like, I really don't know what that is, but okay, I'll figure it out.
Right.
Yeah, and then
Yeah.
2 names I wanted to mention is Katha, and I'm going to say Didel, or it could be Didel. I'm not sure how you pronounce her name. She was a designer,
Okay.
and she's no longer living, and it's now a corporation. She did needlepoints, and a lot of the stockings you see that are finished were her, and the pillows.
Mhm.
You've probably seen there's like an equestrian one. The person's on the horse riding. That's
Mhm.
for good money. I bought 5 of those pillows in an online auction for $200, and that sounds ridiculous. Well, I sold them for $2,000, all 5.
Really?
They were not Little Mermaid. They were mermaid scenes, and it's from a
Okay.
famous artist, and it escapes me right now. And they were beautifully done. I just knew the value. I knew it was there
Mhm.
because there are not a lot of them. But that name, if you ever see Katha Didel or Didel, always sells all day long, as well as Ermine. That's the other one that sells all day long.
And so that is strictly needlepoint stuff?
Yep,
Okay.
yep, yep. The
Yeah.
Katha Didel is done. It's not to do. It's already finished
Oh,
pieces.
it's already finished. Okay.
Ermine is patterns, and you can do them, and they have the yarn with it. And those are from England, so they sell really, really well.
Excellent.
Just got a bunch of them
Yeah.
recently hidden in a lot, and I didn't know they were in there.
I know. I love those surprises.
So those all sold for about 150 each, which is nice, just
Oh gosh.
yeah. So
Yeah, no wonder you quit your full-time job.
yeah.
So back to the equestrian theme. Yeah, that's a popular theme.
Yeah. I pick up anything equestrian when I see it. I just sold a belt this week which had the little horses on it, and so that sells right away.
Did you see the horse ribbons I sold?
Yes.
Okay.
Wouldn't have thought that.
That was fun. And
Yeah.
so I was bidding on some more of them last week. It was gosh, they probably had 12 different lots, but it was out of Kentucky. And I kept getting outbid. I didn't win any of them because I wasn't going that high. And I'm like, yeah, all the horse people are all over this because it was, out of like Louisville, horse country.
Right.
And I think it works better when it's just one lot that's mixed in with a bunch of other random stuff.
Right.
Like that person did horse shows and then there was another one I bid on that like everything in the auction was horse themed. Stained glass pieces, coffee mugs, coasters, bookends, like everything you could imagine. It's like, yeah, this is definitely a horse lover. So I got outbid on some of that stuff too, because all the horse lovers were all over it.
But it's nice when you can get that theme. Yeah, when you can get that theme.
Yes.
That's fun to list because when we have such unique items, sometimes you're like, oh God. But when it's a theme, even if it's not the same thing, it goes a little faster too.
Right.
Yeah.
And those Ralph Lauren vintage wrap skirts with the equestrian with the horse, or just the tack, the bridle and all that stuff. Whether it's the scarves and the skirts,
Right.
Those are still a thing. People just love those patterns and they're vintage. So I always look for those. Hadn't found one in a long time, but they're out there.
I'm starting to think I have one listed. Like, I gotta go look through my inventory now.
Okay,
I
so
need to touch it so it sells,
You do what?
I need to touch it.
Oh,
then it sells,
I know that happens. You go in your inventory storage and you're like, okay, I'm sick of you. Somebody needs to buy you really soon. And sometimes it happens.
It's happened for me this past week. I mentioned to you, I got more space within the house. I took over another space. So I'm moving a lot of the stuff over there. And I'm looking at this. I'm like, oh, how long has this been listed? I don't know, but I'll put it away. So I put it back in its thing. Sure enough, it sold. And it's a stuffed animal that probably listed 4 years ago. I don't know.
Okay, well, maybe you need to come over to my place and touch some of my stuff. Or we'll get on FaceTime and be like, what about do your magic on this one?
We do it for each other, and then that way everything.
Right. Yeah.
A new business model.
That's right. So you said you have more items on your list.
If silverware, flatware,
Mm-hmm.
the stainless steel, specifically mid-century of WMF, Crow-Margit, but
Okay.
specifically Crow-Margit. And it sells every time I have it, it sells. And it's always marked. There's other WMF that sells okay, but not as well as the Crow-Margit. And so you can find it, it's out there. And you won't pay a lot for it because the
Mm-hmm.
people that are selling it, whether it's a thrift store or an auction, won't know what it's worth. And I'm saying you're selling a fork for $75, a knife for $100. Yeah, it's really good. And it's easy to ship.
So is that how you do it individually, or do you put it all together in a lot?
For the Crow-Margit, I do it individually.
Can you spell that?
Yeah, CRO, I'll check it again, but MARGAN.
Okay, well, that's good to
It's
know.
German, it's West Germany is what I know is the
Okay.
company,
Okay.
but
Well,
I
and
do sell.
flatware can be overwhelming.
Yes.
It's
Yeah.
it's a
Like
lot
jewelry.
of pieces, and it's a lot of different makers and makers marks, and
Hmm.
that's something I really haven't delved into because it seems overwhelming. And I
Yeah.
feel like I have to find a full set,
Right.
but no.
No, no. I buy any piece I can find. And then I've sold, when you go to the thrift store, I don't usually have the patience to go through the silverware, but once in a while, I'm inspired. And I find something that is from that series, I'll sell it by itself because it makes more money than some other things.
Is it sterling?
No, stainless steel.
Okay, see, that's another hang up. I feel like it needs to be sterling.
So do I. But you'll recognize it the minute you see it has that mid-century shape. You're very linear, very simple lines, and you can kind of spot it easily, even if it's in a bin.
So what about just the run-of-the-mill brands like Oneida?
I stay away from that. I've done those before, but I feel like, it doesn't have the value for the time I need. I mean, I'm sure it's great if you have maybe a giant lot of it and somebody needs
Mhm.
that pattern. It also depends on the pattern, I think, for those.
Well, yeah, and if it's mid-century, people
Yeah,
are still adding to their collection
right.
all the time when they can find the pieces. So
Yeah.
maybe you're going to push me into trying that
Yeah.
because I feel like I don't know enough. And
Hmm.
like jewelry.
Yeah.
Jewelry is overwhelming, and then I delved into that and learned a lot. But flatware it's a little bigger
Yeah.
for our old eyes, even though we have reading glasses and magnifying glasses.
It gets worse and worse too, because
I'm like, maybe jewelry's for the young eyes.
I'm noticing that more. 'Cause I sell jewelry too, but I'm noticing now when I go to list, I'm like, I'm trying to get it real close and figure
Like,
out.
am I sure that's what it is? Or you take a picture of it, and you blow it up. It's like, but so
That's so
you're
true.
finding these expensive pieces at thrift stores just mixed in?
Everyday thrift stores. Mhm. Or
Mhm.
auctions, the online auctions, different things like that. A lot of online auctions that are local will do the entire estate of somebody. So
Right.
you're not looking to piece out things. They'll be like the whole drawer or, the whole
Yes.
cabinet. I get a lot of bathroom cabinets that way. I do the whole thing. And it's so funny because people go, what did you bid on? I'm like, the bathroom closet. That's how I
Mhm.
found Lysol things, or you find the Tide sticks, or you find all that stuff.
Oh yeah, the
And
Clorox sticks,
you
right.
paid $5, so laugh all you
Well,
want.
and it's funny how they title their auctions. I keep talking about this, but it just blows my mind. They'll just say, everything you see here, or all the stuff in this closet. That's the
Right.
title. And so there's no way to search for it and find it. You
No.
have to, find an auction company you like,
Right.
and that, because some of them, they don't communicate well,
No.
or, you got to find the ones you like,
Right.
and just look through all their stuff, which it's not hard. It's just, I
It's
wish,
time consuming.
yeah, well, the same thing on eBay. Some people
True.
don't title their listings with the words you're wanting.
Right.
I've looked up something the other day, and it was just like, Ann Taylor sweater. That's all was in the title. No size, no color, no style, no neckline, nothing.
Right.
And it is sold.
Oh, okay. Because I'd say that's probably
Yeah.
gonna sit there for a while. No, it's
It
sold.
was on the completed, on the eBay research.
Wow.
I was comping a sweater, the one I'm wearing.
Very nice.
I wear my inventory.
Yeah.
So I'm like, how did this sell with
Right.
like 3 keywords?
Anything sells.
I guess so. Okay, so I hijacked that again. We were talking about flatware. Um, yeah. So do you sell a lot of flatware?
Quite a bit. Yeah. I don't have a niche. I sell anything that sells. Basically, if it sells, I'll sell it. But I do sell quite a bit of flatware. And it's a funny thing, just it's an epiphany for me. So I went to Montessori school. And if people don't know what that is, it's a different type
Uh-huh.
of thing when you're really little, all this kind of stuff. Look it up. But yeah, I just realized when I was moving everything into the different spots I wanted to put, I love to organize. It's a weird habit of mine. But on top of that, I color coordinate. So all like flatware, different things have orange labels and fabrics purple and plush is pink. And then I realized all this time, I'm 53 years old, and I realized I'm doing it Montessori style.
Right. Yeah, I'm constantly reorganizing my inventory.
Yeah. So what I was saying is there's a big tub of flatware, is what I realized. I still have quite a bit. So
Okay. Okay.
yeah.
Well, I think, yeah, maybe I'll bookmark your store and
Yeah.
watch what you do
Yeah.
and get into that because I do see it quite often. I know what knives to look for, but now
Right.
they've started not putting the dangerous knives in those buckets at the thrift store. They
Right.
used to put like a cardboard sheath over it.
Right.
Um, but I'm not seeing that anymore.
That's true because I haven't seen them in a while. Because a friend of mine who's a chef always likes the older knives, um, the wooden handle with the tines. I'm going to use the wrong words. I apologize. But and so I always look for those because he said those make really good money and they resharpen them and they change out how they want them. And I
Mhm.
sold quite a few that way to Argentina specifically. Same, not the same person kept buying them, but I haven't seen them anymore. You're right.
And
Those-
like the Cutco knives, those come with a guarantee. So you can
Mhm.
send them in and have them sharpened or repaired if the handle broke or whatever. And so buyers love those because they know if it's not perfect,
Yeah.
they can have it,
Yeah.
send it in and have it made back to perfect.
Yeah. Fun fact, I sold Cutco knives my senior year of high school.
Really? In a department store?
Nope, you do it yourself. It's door to
Just,
door.
oh my gosh.
So I just hit up the whole family. That's I
There you
don't
go.
trust
Everybody,
anybody.
like Avon.
Yeah, exactly.
I sold Avon in high school. You
Yeah.
sold knives, whatever.
Yes. We got it done.
Yeah. Okay, what else is on your list?
Well, I think an interesting thing about when we struggle with this, when to research and when not to research, right?
Mhm.
Sometimes it's a waste of your time. Just list it, let it sell. And then sometimes it's like, I should know a little more about this. So this is a cute story. I went to the Goodwill outlet and I was with a colleague of mine, friend, and she pulls out this, I mean, literally it's this big and it's a silhouette. And she said, "Do you want this?" And I put it in my thing. I might have paid 19 cents for it. So I get home and I'm about to list it for $30. I don't know, right? I do that. And I'm like, it's signed. And it's a year on there, 27. And my
Mhm.
face, it's a man to the side, and he has very long eyelashes and a pronounced chin with a dimple.
Mhm.
Like, this is to be somebody famous. So this is before Google Lens. So, I mean, it didn't have as much ease. So I had to start writing that stuff. I'm like, famous actors, blah, blah, blah. It was Gary Cooper.
Really?
Mm-hmm. And
Ah,
the artist, I will have to send to you later because I forgot his name. He was a well-known silhouette artist. So I put it at auction and it sold for 365, I think. Yeah,
so yeah, glad you didn't just put 30 bucks on it.
exactly. And I'm sure I've done that with other things. And it's okay. It's sold, it's gone. I
Mhm.
more money than I paid for it. That's all that matters. But this was one of those things where taking the time to research, when you have that hunch, go with the hunch on that kind of stuff. So that's, I think, good. Something else I find I never heard of. One of my favorite things about this job is being able to learn about companies. The Stork Club in New York City was a exclusive club. I'm trying to open this to show you. It was an exclusive club for a social gathering, and
Mhm.
they literally have a stork on it. So I was at the bins and I found suspenders that said the Stork Club on it, and
Oh,
I got them. I mean, they don't weigh anything, so I bring it home, and I went down a rabbit hole. But it's interesting. It's all these people that were socialites in New York City that would go. And I think these belong to the waiters or the people that work there. So that part was just interesting. And so I put them on and I sold them for 100 and something. So yeah, pretty good.
Nice.
But I love that kind of learning where you start figuring out stuff. You become not an expert, but well versed in things that you probably never would have learned if you continue to do other things.
Well, and
So
that's what I love about writing my BOLO books is how much I learn.
yeah,
So I'm
that's
interested. You're going to find in my books, it's stuff that I'm interested in too.
right.
Because
Yeah,
otherwise it's like doing a book report on a book you don't even want to read.
right.
So I just, research these things and so now after doing them since 2021, I'm out all the time. Oh yeah, I know what that is. I know what that is. Because when you do the research or when you have the book and look at the pictures, it sticks in your mind.
Right.
And I'm just amazed at how many things I'm finding now that are in my books. Because it's been so many years and I've done so many, it's just what you said, when you research it, you remember it.
Mm-hmm. It's interesting, that kind of stuff. And it's good party conversation.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I didn't realize people were going to use my books as coffee table books.
Yeah.
Some people that don't even sell will buy them and just
Mm-hmm.
because they're going to start selling or their parents are elderly and they know this is all going to fall on them. And so they're learning now
Right.
what to keep and what to donate and what to trash.
Right.
Because the objective when you're going through an estate, your parents' estate, whatever, is to only touch things once.
Mm-hmm.
Don't make this pile and then we go through it later and revisit that and put it in a storage unit. And because those storage units, let me tell you, it's Hotel California. And I have people contact me all the time. They want to learn how to sell because, yeah, my parents died 10 years ago and their stuff's been in storage for 10 years.
Right. And they don't even know what's in there.
Just the money you spend on the storage unit is
Right.
astronomical. So I love that more Gen Xers and baby boomers with the aging parents, knowing they're going to get all the stuff,
Right.
are figuring it out before it happens. So the process will be faster.
Yeah.
Because when you're going through the estate of someone who passed, it's almost been a year since my mom passed. And luckily she didn't have much stuff. She had already downsized, but you're grieving.
Yeah.
And it's just really hard to make decisions when you're having that brain fog.
Right.
So I totally got us off track again.
But it's
So
great.
are your parents still living?
Well, my father passed away 5 years ago, and
Okay.
my mother is a strong 88-year-old.
Oh my gosh.
Lives on her own, drives everywhere, rides a bicycle 12 miles
really?
every day. Yes.
Good for her.
Yes,
Good
she is.
lifestyle. I love it.
Yeah. Yes, she's great. And she encourages me all the time. And she goes to a store and goes, "What about this?" She loves to.
Very good.
Yeah.
I love that. Because they know so much.
Yeah. Yeah.
And just they remember all these decades because they lived through them.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's great.
Wonderful.
And for me growing up, my parents are a little older having a child when I was born. I got to have that generational in between of learning all their items, not just my friends' parents' items, that kind of stuff. So that to me has been nice. It's been helpful for everything
Yeah,
I
and
do.
I feel like people think, oh, you have to have had a relative in the antique business or something. And everybody's home when you're growing up is full of stuff that you remember that's worth money now.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's kind of like we all really grew up in an antique store.
Exactly.
A vintage store.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I was going to estate sales with my parents since I was really little because they loved the hunt. It was more that for them.
Right.
And so I learned from that age on, it kind of was a perfect fit. So, in that sense.
Or just what you're going to see. What are we going to see when we get there?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a lot more interesting than Walmart or Target.
Exactly. All day long. Plus, it's all organized. I don't want it organized. I want to find things.
Right. It's fun searching. Now, how many items do you have in your store?
I'm down, I think, to 4,800. I was over 5,000. Yeah. I'm cleaning up a little bit because I was like, okay, I don't need this anymore. I don't think it's going to sell and stuff like that. Yeah.
And where do you store all that?
Well, I have a very large house. It was an old building. It was the Oddfellows Meeting Hall. And I
Okay.
converted to a house in the 80s. And so I call it the left side of the house. I have 2 rooms dedicated 100% to eBay. So it's not overflowing everywhere else.
Mm-hmm.
And I have tall shelving. I'm happy one day to do a show of that because I love my story. All the way up with bins, again, with my colors and all that kind of stuff on them. And so I do both. I have one that's clothing and lighter items upstairs, and then the china and everything is on the normal level, off the kitchen level. So that kind of stuff. Yeah.
And so you're an everything seller.
Yes.
But
Everything
you
in it.
sent me some very nice vintage sleepwear
Yeah.
items.
Yeah. Well, because I do clothing and I hate listing clothes. I'm terrible
Well, I want to thank you for that because
Yeah.
several of them have sold.
That's fantastic.
And the people were very happy and they were just beautiful items.
Yeah, then they look at your store for that stuff. I think people don't look at my store for that. I don't know. I don't think it has to do with a store specifically, but
Well, and I think
yeah.
you're right. Once you hit on something that works, like right now, what's working for me is Speedo swimwear.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on with that. I bought some, it was a sporting goods closeout auction.
Right.
And so it was a bunch of the competitive type swimsuits, goggles, swim caps, stuff like that. And like, oh, this is lightweight. It was shipped to me and each thing cost about $2 after all was said and done. But those things are just flying out of my store.
That's
And,
good.
women's and little girls sizes.
Really?
So, I understand that if you're a competitive swimmer, you go through a lot of suits, you want a lot of different ones. And so I'm shifting what I'm buying for resale. I'm like, what's working? I'm going to do more of that.
Right. And you just hit on something key. Like just because it worked really well a year ago doesn't mean it works now.
Mm-hmm.
I have to train myself even when I go to the stores. I'll beeline to something. I'm like, wait, why am I going after this? It's not selling. So, but I knew it did.
I like it and it's pretty.
I sell a lot of yarn.
Okay.
And I sell mugs all the time. And then I tell myself, stop buying mugs, but I still sell mugs. So
Well, if they're selling, then
exactly.
that's okay.
Yeah. But I have too many comparison.
Right. And I look at the mugs and I'm like, why am I looking at the mugs? I don't like storing them.
Yeah, that's a pain.
Because there's different ways you can hang them on the wall, you can stack them in a tub, but I don't know. They take up room.
They do take up a lot of room.
I don't mind shipping them because they're easy, but I still look at them. I might find, what are those Taylor NG mugs that have animals on them, or the animal orgy mugs.
Yep.
I found those before. Those are crazy, but fun.
That was one of my fraud situations, but yeah, I did that too.
What is that?
So I sold the Taylor NG mug. It was the cat, Le Chat.
Yes.
And I've learned since then, I mark my things so that if they get them and they try something, the woman barely gets in, so that it's broken. And things can break. I get it. But the way I wrap things, I was like, you barely got it. It just arrived. And I said, please send pictures no, I can't get pictures up. And you know how she returned it, which at that point doesn't matter because the post office wouldn't give me anything anyway. I get it back. It's not my mug. The mug was broken and she had gotten a new mug.
Who would think a switcheroo on a mug?
I know. That's why I was like, really? And it was just, it's upsetting because it's like, really, you couldn't afford the mug. You just had to do that to me. It's like, so anyway, but that was
the one bad apple. I had one of those the other day on one of my empty perfume bottles. It's a picture of it from all sides. You can tell it's empty. It says in the title, it's empty. Yeah. It says it's in collectibles category. And in the description, it says it's empty. Like I made sure people understood. Yeah. When the lady she opens a item not as described return and says, there's no perfume in here. And I said, I played dumb. I said, well, thank you for your purchase. Can you help us understand why you thought you were getting a full bottle? Because it says, all the places in the pictures and she's opened her account 2 days ago.
Of course.
And English is not her native language. So her English was very choppy. I couldn't communicate with her well. And she just kept saying, I don't want this. it's no perfume in it. And then I was like, well, lady, it was 100 milliliter bottle. You really think you're going to get it for $20?
Right. There's that part of it too. Like, really?
So I couldn't make her. And then I'm like, well, sure, you can return it. No problem. And she says, what address do I send it to? And I said, you just open a return. You've already opened the return on eBay. So just follow the steps and print the label and the address will be on there. I didn't want to try to communicate the address with her because she couldn't understand what I was saying anyway. And she says, I have no printer, cannot print label. Like, she had all these problems. So I finally said, please contact eBay for further instructions.
Good. Yeah.
And I said that 2 or 3 times. And then I contacted eBay on Facebook and explained the situation. And yeah, it's just a little perfume bottle, but I shouldn't have to pay return shipping, and I shouldn't an item not as described, because she's clearly didn't read the title or didn't understand.
Right.
And so I don't think I should be penalized for that. So we'll see where
and you know what? You're giving it the benefit of the doubt. It could have been a completely different situation, and we don't need to reward that behavior.
Right. Yeah. So I doubt she'll even ship it back, because A, maybe she can't figure it out, and B, she's going to move on to somebody else, a different victim. So I'll just wait. But that's rare to have a problem with a customer.
Yeah.
Everybody's happy.
Yeah. Same. I'm pretty lucky that way too.
Yeah. So with that many items, I have to ask, about how many do you sell a month, a week, whatever?
This normally I sell quite a bit, but I have been very bad for the last 3 months because I went to Europe and I went to a wedding, and then I decided I was putting the store on vacation for the entire month. I was like, you know what? I need a break. So I did that, and then I've come back, and since I've been moving everything, I wasn't listing. You know, I mean, things are selling, they're still selling, but I don't. But and again, I'll sell, I don't know, in a week I can sell 30 $10 items. No, I don't have $10, $20 items. Or I sold, for example, and I just put it on the $100 sales. I just sold 5 yards of French fabric for $900 and something dollars.
Really?
Yeah, beautiful fabric too. And I just touched it. See?
You just touched it.
I did. I would move it. I'm like, what's in here? Oh, okay, I'm moving it over here.
Went in there with your fairy dust and sprinkled it around.
Yeah. And it's going back to France. It's going back to France, which is funny.
Yeah, that happens with things made in Italy. They go back to Italy sometimes.
Yeah.
So when your store is moving at its highest velocity, how much are you selling?
I would say anywhere between 50 to 70 pieces a day I've had.
Oh my gosh, that's a lot of shipping.
And it got, and I have 3-day shipping. I did that on purpose.
Okay, yeah, I can see
you explained that a long time ago, and I went to that because otherwise I was stressed out over it.
Yes.
And I never ship on Mondays. I ship Tuesday, but I need my Mondays. That's how I feel about it.
I ship as soon as it sells. So if they say, yeah, I changed my mind, I'm like, well, I've already shipped.
Oh, there you
go. So, but I don't have if I had 100 things to ship a day, okay, I'm not going to say, oh, that sounds overwhelming. I'm going to say, that sounds fantastic. I would be happy to crank up the music and drink some more coffee and ship for 3 hours. I would be happy to do that.
And one of my tricks, because shipping's not fun personally, people like shipping. I don't like packaging. However, another eBayer does this, and I started doing it. I have pretty tissue paper, I have pretty poly mailers, and I have pretty things, and that makes it more fun. You know, I put it with a sticker in my business card, and off it goes, and it makes it move faster.
Yeah, when everything's plain, it's kind of drudgery.
Yes.
I look at shipping as, this is not an income producing activity. You know, finding things, listing things, answering questions, those can result in income. Shipping is the back end.
Yeah.
It has to be done, but I need to reframe how I think about that. Like, I'm so happy they paid me for this. They paid me to find this item for them. I hope they're going to love it. And you just have to put that energy into it instead of, I hate shipping. Because guess what? You're shipping it because somebody paid you for it. So
and you got to get it out. So you don't have a choice. No elves coming in for that.
I didn't realize you had so much inventory.
Yeah. And I will be the first to say, so you can scold me, I've quite a bit of a death pile. I mean, money-making pile that I haven't listed yet.
Well, but you're in an area where you might get some bad weather and be stuck inside. And if eBay is your full-time job, then you'll have plenty to work on.
True. Very true. And it's funny because Mondays usually I go out and I donate items because when you buy large lots of things, there's going to be things you're not going to sell.
Mm-hmm.
So then I'll bring it to the thrift store. Then I have to go in.
Mm-hmm.
And
Of course, you're there. I know. I did that the other day. I went and checked out a Goodwill boutique. It's inside a regular store.
Right.
And we kind of had a boutique area where they had the glass cases, but this is actually part of the store. It has a door on it. It's open different hours. I didn't know such a thing existed. So I was like, I'm gonna go check that out because I'll pay $20 for something I can sell for $100. I'm okay with that. So I go in there, and it's Tuesday, and of course my first question is, does the senior discount apply in here? And they're like, no. It's like, well, it doesn't hurt to ask. And so but it was all just regular run-of-the-mill stuff that was in really good condition, like the Macy's brands, like Alfred Dunner and Norton Naughton and Chico's and stuff like that.
Right.
It wasn't anything great, but it was all marked up. Vineyard Vine shorts for $20. Okay, come on.
Yeah.
In that.
Yeah.
So I was disappointed, but so I just walked outside into the regular store and shopped there. It's like the same stuff at lower prices.
Right. Yeah. Sometimes you wonder their mindset when they do that stuff. You're like, what?
Okay. Do you have the boutique stores there?
Yep. I have all of them.
Is it the same concept where it's a store within a store?
Yep. And I don't even look anymore.
Yeah. I guess in the South, we kind of are behind the times a little bit. So,
but they don't know the value. I noticed that because the boutique stuff, I'm like, that's not a boutique item. And yet in the major part of the store, I found something that could have been in there,
Mm-hmm.
That's okay. Work for me.
You can't take your cart in there because there's not enough room.
Exactly.
And they have these little tote bags. And so there was a few other people in there. I did not see one person check out and buy anything or put anything in their bag.
Yeah.
Like everyone else was as disappointed as I was. It's like, y'all, let's go back out to the regular store and get stuff at lower prices. But gotta check it out. Do you ever buy from Goodwill online?
Oh yeah.
You do?
Quite a bit from them. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I can edit this out if you don't want to share. I know about the jewelry boxes. Is that what you're looking at?
That and the glasses.
Eyeglasses.
Yep. Which was another lesson I learned from you.
Is it a lot or is it one single pair?
No, it's pounds.
By the pound.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
do you pick that up or you have it shipped to you?
I get it shipped. It's not that bad. It's like $12 to $15 for the box for 30 pounds, so it's not bad.
Good.
And in fact, in one of the more, I haven't done it in a while, but the jewelry lots I got a lot. And I send in the silver and gold to get from a refinery. Just a lot easier. But there's this one necklace in there and you can see the turquoise coming through and you're like, oh, that looks pretty. And then I saw sterling silver, and it is a designer out of New Mexico, and I don't remember her name, but this was broken on one side. I was like, well, I would still try list it because somebody can repair it, or maybe the designer can repair it for someone. And I didn't know what I was going to put it for. I looked up, her necklaces run between $2,500 and $3,500. So I sold mine for $750.
Are you kidding?
No, and the person said, I said, are you aware? Because are you aware as listed, it's missing on this side? Nope, I've already contacted her and she's going to fix it for me.
Okay.
Good.
And that came out of a Goodwill box.
Yep.
Well, look at you.
When it's just fun because I could keep going for hours.
But you got to take some risks. That's the thing is sometimes you end up with duds.
Yeah.
And that's okay. It all goes into the same pot, so to speak.
It's still a learning lesson. That's how I was at the Goodwill bins. This one closed, unfortunately, this Goodwill bin. But there's a bag. You can tell when they threw stuff in that they didn't even go through. Like it was donated and they threw it in. And this was an almost empty bin. Everybody had gone through it. And I pull out this thing and I'm like, okay, I look at the back. I walk away. I'm like, I'm going to check out now. It was a sterling silver tray.
Really?
Got $600 for it.
You have some kind of
I
magnetism where things
That's what
just
my
find their
wife
way to
says.
you.
My wife says that. She said, "This is made for you. This all made for you." Well, another sweet one in the same Goodwill outlet, and this is also why it's important to trust your gut. I went to an area, there was the rejects where everybody throws back stuff. And there was a piece of a poster, if you will, but it's all hand done. It was mixed media, which means you'll use paint, pen, fabric, different things, any variation of mixed media. And it was called Love Letters. And it was really pretty the way it was done. And on one of the envelopes was an address for someone who lived in New Hope, PA. And it was the husband and wife. And then at the bottom, it was signed New Mexico again. I must have something to do with New Mexico. Signed by the artist in New Mexico, and he had died 2 years before. So this was obviously commissioned for these people. Why did it ended up there? I don't know. People threw it around. I don't know. My wife saw it, and she's an artist, and she said, "Oh, that's not anything. You're not going to get anything for that." I said, "Okay, that's fine." I did my research. I actually found who the couple was. It's a little bit of a tragic story in there. So I was like, okay. I listed the whole thing. I finally sold it for $900.
Nice.
Yeah, it needed work, so that's why I got less than I think probably because it had been wrinkled being rolled up in the Goodwill bins. But yeah, so trust your gut.
Yeah, it's just stuff is everywhere. There's an
Yeah,
abundance. And yeah, sometimes you walk out empty-handed because you don't find what you're looking for.
that was last week for me.
There's always the next place.
Yep.
You don't know what's just been put out that you're going to see before anybody else, or if the people before you even care.
Yeah, that's true.
Like I learned I don't want to work with cameras. I don't like it. I don't like big bedding. I know you make a lot of money, but I'm on the third floor of an apartment. I got to bring
Yeah.
it up here. And
I'm not, and I've stopped doing it because just to store it, it's just
big. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, and now if I saw one that was worth like $800, I would just suck it up and do it. But I just
right.
look at that stuff, and I do like to try new things, but within my parameters.
Yeah. Yeah. Electronics are not my thing because I feel like Casey does so well with all his electronics.
Uh-huh.
I just don't, I just don't do well with electronics. And I'm also afraid because I get the piece. I don't know if it works, how it works. I don't want to get involved.
Well, and let's touch on that for the listeners too. Because yes, Casey is a superstar in our group, but he gets a lot of stuff free.
That's true.
And they know him in that town. And sometimes he'll make a donation anyway, $5 or something. But he's in a very unique situation that most of us are never going to be in. It's an affluent area, and he's figured out how to get stuff free. And so if it's free, yeah, you take a chance. And if it doesn't work, you just trash it. So yeah, you got to like bloom where you're planted. Figure out what is near you, what you're good at, what you like working with, and marry all those elements together. And that turns out to be a fun and successful business. Because if you're not loving it, it's not going to be successful. It's just not.
Right.
Yeah. And it's not McDonald's either if you're not loving it.
No.
Okay. Well, we have gone almost an hour here. Do you have any final words for the listeners?
Something I've learned to do a little bit that I think everybody should do. If you watch TV or you watch movies or you read books, especially movies and TV though, watch the surroundings of whatever show you're watching. I've sold to Stranger Things, Mrs. Maisel, different shows like that. I've gotten to know some of those people that are the set designers.
Okay.
So I think it's very important that you start honing in on pay attention to the storyline. I get it, but look behind, see what's on that table. See what kind of clothes they're wearing. What is it you're seeing? Because if that show goes for another season or different things like that, or the people that watch the show really like it, they'll want to buy those things. And I feel like it's the lesson.
And there's so many of those coming out now on the streaming channels.
Yeah.
I watched a movie a few weeks ago. It's called The Long Walk Home. It was Sissy Spacek and Whoopi Goldberg. And she was Whoopi was the maid. And it was placed in the 60s during all the civil unrest. And so she ended up not taking the bus and having to walk. But oh my gosh, that kitchen, all I did was look at the background, the toaster and the Oster mixer and all the stuff on the counter. I was following the story, but I was just in the clothing, the
Yeah.
fashion, the
Yeah.
hairstyles, the cars, what's on their coffee table. It was very, very mid-century modern with the, Danish type furniture. And
Mhm.
I was just looking at everything. I'm like, yeah, I'm totally watching this movie. I want to look at the background.
It's great. You learn something every time too.
And
And
it
that,
was a good movie anyway. So,
watch that.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, okay. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to share your wisdom because I learned a lot from you.
Well, thank you. And I always learn from you. And I suggest everybody gets your premium library because it's always fascinating. And as much as we know, we learn more.
Okay, good. Well, my latest class I'm working on right now is about wigs
Ooh,
because I've
okay.
been selling a lot of wigs and I think people don't look at them or
No,
they don't know how to
I'm
do it.
intimidated for that.
And
Yeah.
some of them are really expensive when they're new.
Right.
And women wear wigs for all kind of reasons. It's not
Hmm.
just because you have chemo. It's like if you go on, I guess it's TikTok or where those reels are.
Yeah.
There's several girls that they're in their 20s and they just have um, they're bald because they
Yeah.
have issues, some kind of illness or disease or whatever. And they're so beautiful. You would never know.
Right.
And, they got to get them somewhere.
Yeah.
So, that's something I've been into for a while because they're usually behind the counter at
Okay.
the thrift store and they're like less than $5 and you can sell them for 100
I'm going to be doing that now. I'm going to run to
because new they're like 300.
right.
And anyway, yeah, I stumbled into that when I went to it was an estate sale about 3 or 4 years ago and they had like 20 of them and I just bought them all. I'm like, this is something I need to learn and don't take up much room, easy to ship, and I've never had one returned.
Well, that's good. Yeah.
So anyway, thank you for that plug for the
Yeah.
premium library. I do add new content every week and it's what I'm learning so everybody can learn too.
And it's varied, which I think is important for people. That's what's
Yeah, I
good.
try to put something in there for everybody.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
So anyway, thank you so much. And
Thank
what are
you.
you going to be up to today? Listing, shipping, shopping? Well, not shipping.
Uh,
You said you don't do it on Mondays.
no, actually, today I'm going to do something I've never done. I'm putting up Christmas.
There you go.
Kind of need it.
The joy of working at home is you can do that.
Exactly. That's what I'm doing today because I figured let's take
Okay.
Friday off.
Well, put on that Christmas music and be festive and
Exactly.
enjoy your day.
Thank you.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Now on to parting words. We talked a little bit about the Disney Membership Club, and it's called Club 33. Here is some information about that if you aren't aware. Club 33 is a private members-only dining club at Disney parks that offers exclusive experiences. Club 33 has locations at Disneyland Park, Disney California Adventure, and Walt Disney World Resort. The first Club 33 opened in 1967 at Disneyland Park, modeled after VIP lounges at the 1964 New York World's Fair. Membership is highly exclusive and can cost tens of thousands of dollars per year. People often wait decades to be allowed in. Members receive tailored experiences, including access to member-only dining and cocktail lounges. Some say the club offers high-quality food and service in a beautiful and peaceful setting. Some describe the club as a hidden oasis that's a mix of enchantment, whimsy, and privilege. The club features a grand entrance, a small entry vestibule, and an iconic atrium with a sweeping staircase and statuary. Okay, why should you care? Some of the items that come from Club 33 can sell for a lot of money on eBay. According to eBay research, there were 5,500 items with the keywords Disney Club 33 sold in the last year. Items include pins, clothing, keychains, backpacks, cups and mugs, jewelry, figurines and statues, anniversary and commemorative items like coins and plates. The logo is just the number 33 with a fancy scroll border around it. So you can Google that and take a look at it to become familiar with it and look for these items when you are treasure hunting out in the wild. These items have fantastic resale value, hundreds or even thousands of dollars. And if you are a Club 33 member and dare to part with any of your items, check out comps. You'll be surprised. You may just want to cash in on some of those goodies. Next week, my guest is Dawn, and she has an interesting situation. She and her sister both sell on eBay, and they have a little competition going. So, some sibling rivalry, eBay style. Make sure to come back for that episode next week. Thank you all for supporting this podcast by tuning in every week. And keep listing, so there's still time to cash in on that holiday buying frenzy. Make it a great week on eBay, everybody. Bye for now.